Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to thank you for being here today as you've come to share your hearts of love for Kara and her family. My name is Pastor Debbie Stafford, and I would like to say that on behalf of the family, the outpouring of love has just been so appreciated. And today, not only are we here with a very full chapel, but we also have family and friends joining us from all around this country virtually. And we would also like to welcome you as you have come to help us in sharing our love and our honor for Kara. I would like to share with you some thoughts from the family because there are so many of you here today who have touched their lives and made such an important difference. Kara's family would like to thank the doctors and nurses at Kaiser St. Joseph's Hospital and most recently at Presbyterian St. Luke's Hospital for their kindness and dedication in providing Kara the best care possible. Toba and Hannah extend special gratitude to Toba's brother, Dr. Arno Zaritsky, for his invaluable guidance during this incredibly complex and difficult medical journey. They also want to express a deep appreciation to Joya Wolf and Ann Lee McCrae for the constant support given to all three of them, as well as to Hannah's boyfriend, Emerson Cotto, for his unwavering love and endless acts of service. It meant so much to Kara and her family that her sisters, Kim and Kathy, her mother, Jane, and stepfather, Joe, were able to spend time in Denver with her over the past 15 months. The emotional nurturing they provided soothed her greatly. Kara, Toba, and Hannah want to acknowledge and thank Dr. John Robbie for his generosity and patience, and to the staff of Robbie Family Dentistry for stepping up during Kara's absence. Kara felt so loved and comforted by all of her friends and her family, and your love and presence here today means so very much. I would also like to read to you out of the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 3. There is a time for everything, and everything on earth has its special season. There is a time to be born and a time to die. There is a time to plant and a time to pull up plants. There is a time to kill and a time to heal. There is a time to destroy and a time to build. There is a time to cry and a time to laugh. There is a time to be sad and a time to dance. There is a time to throw away stones and a time to gather them. There is a time to hug and a time not to hug. There is a time to look for something and a time to stop looking for it. There is a time to keep things and a time to throw things away. There is a time to tear apart and a time to sew together. There is a time to be silent and a time to speak. There is a time to love and a time to hate. There is a time for war and a time for peace. I would invite you, please, to join me in a word of prayer. Dear God, as we come to you now, thanking you so much for Kara, for her life, for her love, for her zeal and energy toward every person that crossed her path, her love for her family, her love for all of those that she touched professionally, personally, through friendships. I just thank you this day that as we honor and celebrate her life, we know that it is the season of her life, but Father, it feels like a cold winter season for so many. I would ask, dear God, that you would bring comfort to each one here, and we thank you. Amen. I would now like to read Kara's obituary, please. Kara Lynn Honn Zaritsky was surrounded by her people as she let go and found peace at her home in Denver, Colorado on Sunday, July 27th, 2025. Kara was born in Charleston, Illinois on December 19th, 1968 to Jane Foreman and to John Honn. Her memory is cherished by her loving wife, Toba Rochelle Zaritsky, and her daughter, Hannah Jane Zaritsky. She is also survived by her mother, Jane, her stepfather, Joe Baptist, her sister, Kim Shambo, and Eric, and her stepsister, Kathleen Baptist Conley, and stepbrother, Brad Baptist, and Debbie. Kara was a proud aunt to 6 nephews, 3 nieces, 11 great nephews, and 2 great nieces. Kara was affectionately known as Auntie to countless others. Kara graduated from Charleston High School and went on to attend Eastern Illinois University, where she earned a Bachelor of Science in Recreation. She later completed her training and education at the Boulder School of Massage Therapy. Kara's lifelong passion for healing and wellness shaped her career. She took great pride in working as a business manager and certified massage therapist at Dr. Robbie Family Dentistry, integrated TMJ and Sleep Solutions, the oldest family-owned dental practice in Colorado. Kara was a devoted wife, a supportive mother, a caring family member, and a loyal friend. She was full of warmth, kindness, and generosity. Her infectious smile and big blue eyes would light up any room. Kara found peace and inspiration in the outdoors, where she especially loved tending to her garden, a space that reflected her creativity, patience, and care. Her motto, work hard, play hard, would shine through at her happy place, the casinos. She was known for giving the dealers and the bartenders generous tips and ensuring that everyone was having a good time. She was always up for anything, including matching Celtic tattoos with her daughter. They found a design that is from their ancestral castle in Scotland. Kara had a great sense of humor. She would always get a kick out of people mistaking her for Ellen. Her laugh and the way that she'd grab your arm when something really got her going was simply the best. Kara loved the simple things in life, from cheering on the Broncos to camping under the stars. She greatly enjoyed researching her family lineage and felt very connected to her ancestors. But above all, Kara cherished time spent with family and friends, and her greatest joy came from being surrounded by the people that she loved. At this time, I would like to invite Kim Shambo to come. Kim will be lighting a candle in honor of loved ones in the family who have passed on before. I would like to read something for you, and then we're going to enjoy Hannah coming. From the time Kara was my massage therapist at the Denver Athletic Club, it was important to me what a competent, caring, and fun person she was. When she came to work in our family's dental practice, she charmed and performed her way to being the backbone of our team, an excellent manager and a great friend, and a confidant to me. She is missed in so many different ways that I cannot enumerate them. I am no doubt a better person having known her, as I think most of you are. I am both grieving and honored to have been around her so much. Be free and keep flying high, KZ. Dr. John Robbie. I have one more from Kara's niece, Hope. There's hardly a time in my life when I can remember Toba without Kara. It was always Tanti and Auntie from the moment Kara and Toba were together. I was instantly her niece. There were no questions, no hesitation. I was family. That kind of love certainly meant the world. And in fact, when my husband and I were deciding where we would move to build our life and raise a family, we chose to move from Massachusetts to Colorado, specifically because Toba and Kara were there. And we knew having the aunts nearby would shape our lives in the most meaningful ways. Kara, as auntie, was everything you could hope for. Loving, sweet, and full of fun. She had a knack for sneaking candy to the kids when they definitely didn't need it, and she made every holiday and celebration magical with her decorations and the thoughtful little gifts she picked out just for them. She and my husband shared a hilarious and special bond, so close that they sometimes show up at the bar in identical outfits. And then there was her relationship with our son Cameron. From the day he was born, he was her boy. She loved napping with him as an infant, and as he grew, he looked up to her, deeply valuing her thoughts on sports, his baseball progress, and life. Kara gave her love so openly and joyfully, and the space she held in our lives is irreplaceable. Kara had a special relationship with all of her nieces and her nephews. And at this time, I would like to invite Hannah to come. Hannah will be sharing a poem. And Hannah, you're so beautiful and so loved. What a treasure you are.
So it's a folk tale from Perthshire, Scotland, aforementioned castle area where we got our matching tattoos from. I shortened it down as much as possible, but it's still a tiny bit long. But it's called The Challenge. A farmer walked round his farm and land. He loved it all and had been there all his life. However, a question vexed him. What would happen when he was gone? Tradition dictated that it should be evenly divided between his 3 children, but he couldn't bear the thought of his treasured land being split up into small plots. So who to give it to? His eldest son, a born craftsman, but no real affinity for the land, his middle child, a practical, sensible, and clever boy, or his youngest, a girl always full of joy and love for everyone and everything. He pondered until he came up with an unusual solution. He called his children together and explained, I'll give you a year. At the end of the year, you must come with your answer. Sorry. The most successful will be the farm owner after me. I want you to fill the big old barn out back so it stays constantly filled. What with? Queried the younger brother. Ah, said the father, that is up to you. And that was the challenge. The eldest son, a skilled craftsman, left to learn more. The middle child, a practical young man, stayed on the farm but later set off in search of his own solution. The daughter remained home, content, bringing joy to those around her. As the year ended, the eldest returned with carts full of feathers. They filled the barn full of them, reaching right up to the ceiling, and so it stayed for a while. But then they began to slowly drift down until they became a big pile on the floor. The barn was full no more. Next, the younger son came with a special candle he had made. When lit, it gave off a beautiful, pure light that filled every corner of the barn. But after a long while, the candle burned down and they were again left in darkness. The father was thinking deeply. Each son had come up with a good solution, but who should win? Just as he was puzzling over this, there was a burst of chatter and laughter, and his daughter appeared, surrounded by her many friends. Sorry. No, I'm okay. Sorry. The daughter and her friends quickly built a fire, chatting the whole time. Tea was made and drunk, and the barn filled with the sound of laughter and fun. People came and went. More tea was made. God, this is really hard.
No, it's okay. Tea was made and drunk, and the barn filled with the sound of laughter and fun. People came and they went. More tea was made, bannocks eaten, and the barn was full of voices laughing, joking, and talking. This carried on for many hours and showed no sign of abating when the farmer stepped forward. He turned to look at his 3 children and suddenly gave a great big smile. The choice was simple. To his eldest, he said, "The feathers were a good idea, and your master must have valued you highly to give you so many. Return to him and continue your trade." The eldest son beamed. He wanted nothing more. To his younger son, "The candle was like nothing I have seen. You should continue this work and see if you can develop it further." And to his daughter, "You have reminded me of the most important things in the world, life and love. The farm is yours." The girl smiled and threw her arms around her father, and from that day, the door was always open, a welcome to any traveler. Many a, what is that word?
Many a Kaylee was held there, and the farm was always full of life, love, and laughter.
Beautifully shared. Beautifully shared. I was thinking, Hannah, you kind of just have the best of both your moms, and it's just a treasure. What a beautiful treasure that you are. I would now like to share with you just some of the thoughts that we also really understand are so important as we come today to honor Kara. And as we come to honor her, I really would like us to realize that she absolutely has left a legacy. She's left a mark. She's left a footprint. And when I think of the beauty of her life and how she touched everyone around her, it's just an amazing gift. I would like to share with you very special thoughts from Toba. Toba is so grateful for the 28 years she had with Kara. During all those years, they lived in the moment and were spontaneous with life, never ones to believe in delayed gratification for somewhere or something down the line. Kara always said, "I work hard so I can play hard." Kara and Toba, and in many cases Hannah, took amazing trips. They traveled really well together. Kara was always up for an adventure. She would have her bags ready, and Toba would take care of the rest. They took trips to Hawaii, California, Las Vegas, New Orleans, and the trip of a lifetime to Ireland and Scotland. Kara was a supporting and loving mother to Hannah. She was always proud of her, whether it be her artwork, an essay she wrote for school, her love of horseback riding, and her love of Celtic culture and ancestral heritage. At home, they balanced each other perfectly. Kara loved gardening, fixing things, and keeping the house in shape, while Toba loved grocery shopping, going to the farmer's market, and cooking. They entertained often and loved having friends and family over, and no matter how many dinners and parties they hosted, Kara would always ask Toba, "Are you sure we have enough food?" Let me just stop and ask real quickly, how many of you have enjoyed that opportunity to share with Toba and Kara? Yeah, look around, family, look around. Look at all the people that have had that opportunity, and what a delight that was for sure. She was a master fire builder, whether in the backyard chimneys or an outdoor campfire. Hannah paused everything the day Kara was diagnosed and came home to help Toba take care of her. Toba often says she could not have cared for Kara as well as she did without Hannah's help, and she will always be thankful for that. Through her illness, Kara was a warrior. She faced this life-threatening disease daily, facing one complication after another. She had a strong will to live, and that's why everyone called her Wonder Woman. One of the last things she said was, "I tried." For Toba, taking care of Kara was one of the hardest things she's ever done, but it was a privilege to devote 100% of time and energy to take care of her. And I would like to just comment there, that's the commitment of love. The commitment of love says, "I'll be there with you until you take your last breath." And that's a beautiful gift for a beautiful love story. Kara was incredibly generous to her family, friends, and service industry workers. Having worked in the industry for many years, she knew the importance of taking care of others. I also want you to know that a quote that was once written, George Bernard Shaw wrote, "Life is no brief candle to me. It is a sort of splendid torch, which I am permitted to hold for the moment, and I want to make it burn as brightly as possible. And I believe this." Kara's light absolutely glowed very brightly. And yet we also know that she has moved through these seasons of life. And as she has moved through this journey of life, we're just surrounded here by everything she loved. Kara, first of all, loved you, Toba. She loved you, Hannah. She loved her mom, her family, her siblings. She loved everybody. She loved her friends. And then she loved flowers and gardening. How many of you know how much she just loved nature? Send her up to the mountains, put her around a campfire with a tent. She was very, very happy because she found peace in her soul when she was just in her happiest places. And every one of you here, and those of you who are joining us virtually, you represent Kara's happy. And for that, we are very grateful that you are here to celebrate this day. And Toba, I also look at the way you two complement each other. You each one knew what the other one was going to do, and you knew how to compensate for that. You knew how to take care of that. And I would believe in these days ahead, as you are moving through your journey, I would encourage you, find a way to keep that rhythm going as much as you can, because Kara's love will always be there embracing you. She will be there embracing your family. She will be there embracing your friends. But I would say this, I believe that in the last year and a half, or the journey that you have found yourselves traveling, you have been experiencing what I would call the long goodbye. And that is a very painful journey. And there may be those of you here who have also walked that long goodbye with a loved one. And in the long goodbye, you do everything in your power to fight and get over the hurdles and get through those seasons of life in hope and prayer that you can get on to a brighter, warmer, sunnier season of life. And yet through that time, your love, your commitment, your dedication demonstrated the integrity of your love together. And that is a beautiful gift. And that love, I have so much respect for you and for Kara, for the way that you loved each other, for the way you love Hannah. And Hannah, for you to have just put the brakes on your world and said, "We're hurting at home, I'm home. I'm going to help." And you did everything that you could do. And as you move through this journey of grief, I would suspect in a room this size, and with those of you who are watching us, there are those who have also had other types of losses, and absolutely loss is saying goodbye to a loved one who has passed on. But loss is other things. It could be loss of a relationship. It could be loss of health. I don't know how many of you think about this, but the process of aging in this life has its own interesting opportunities. And for many people, that becomes a loss. And as we move through this journey of grief, grief has clear stages and clear steps, but they don't always work in a clear linear line. There is first shock. And that's certainly what you experienced as a family. There's denial. You just want to say, this has to get better. We'll do everything in our power to make this better. There is a stage in the journey of grief. It's not a stage that a lot of us like very well, but there is a stage of anger. And the anger can be the protest. It can be the protest of the very things that we can't control or change, and we feel overwhelmed. And there can be a stage of anger. Our hope is that no one would harm themselves or others in a stage like that. But then we move on to some bargaining. We try to sort it out with God. We try to sort it out in our head, and finally to a level of acceptance. But then you come to an event like this, or you have an experience with a loved one like you've gone through right now with Kara, and then it rips the scab off the heart of other losses that we have experienced. And I would call that kind of grief compound grief. Compound grief is a little bit like riding on a roller coaster. You aren't really clear if you're going up or down or coming around a sharp turn because it can just catch you off guard. I'm not sure if anybody here has ever been caught off guard like that. But to move through a major loss like you are going through, it's about a 3 to 5 year journey of working through a lot of the hurt and the pain. And I would say this, Toba, the way that you and Kara loved each other is such a gift. And I hope that others of us can learn from that love, the love that says, I will be with you. I will be with you through this journey. That is a gift of love. And as we celebrate Kara, I'm not sure what you're going to do in her honor, but I certainly love the idea of planting flowers and working in the garden and doing all of those things that she loved to do. And I think if Kara could be here, I think first of all, she would share with you how much she loves you. I think she would share that she is doing well. But I also believe this. I think she would say, embrace life. Don't put it off till tomorrow. Take the side road, plan the trip, pack your bags, go do it, go try it. Why? Because this gift of life is a treasure. It's a rich treasure. And every one of us, I hope we can look around at each other and realize that Kara's love for each one here is so rich. And I really would encourage each of us in Kara's honor to pay that love forward. I would ask that you would find comfort in knowing that Kara's love for you is absolutely something that has carried her through her darkest hour, her darkest season of her life. And you will go through seasons on this journey that you have yet to travel. And my prayer, my hope, and my encouragement for each of you, you know, if you wake up in the middle of the night and you think of Toba or Hannah or any of the family, maybe pray for them. I'm not sure I would say call them always in the middle of the night, but if they're on your heart, find a time to reach out and just remind them how much you love them. Remind them that you're thinking of Kara. Remind them, because talking about Kara, she doesn't leave us. She has just moved on to her eternal resting place. But here she lives and she's alive in our love and in our hearts. And that is a gift. I would like to say, especially on behalf of Toba, Hannah, and the entire family, I want to thank you, because your love here today and the warmth and the presence just tells me the richness. And if you're here or if you're watching us virtually, I think that you are a rich treasure that Kara would want to say, thank you, thank you, thank you. Toba, our love, our arms are wrapped around you, Hannah, the entire family. And I think of all the nieces and nephews and the great nieces and nephews that Kara absolutely loved being able to be a part of your lives. And I guess I could be a little bit of a troublemaker, but if any of you are hanging around the nieces or nephews, smuggle some candy to them on behalf of Kara. I think she would appreciate that. Don't look, I'll have their parents not look at me. I'm sure I wasn't appreciated, but we do know Dr. Robbie, and he can provide good dental care. So we can make sure that we can care for the children in a well-rounded, loving way. But we do want to say thank you, as this day we celebrate and honor Kara. Our hearts hurt because the season of her leaving us feels too soon. And yet we're here out of love. Let's leave today and share and spread that love in honor of Kara. Will you please join me in a word of prayer? Dear God, as we come to you now, and oh, how I thank you for Kara, this amazing, amazing, talented, gifted, warm-hearted, funny, caring woman who just gave so much love. Those who had the honor and the privilege to know Kara and to be loved by Kara are richer people walking this earth. And I would ask that you would bring comfort to her family, to her friends, to those who are hurting. And in her honor, I would ask that we would all be reminded to be kind, to share love, and to make sure that we take every opportunity to enjoy the rich treasures that surround us in our family, in our friends, and in every side journey we have an opportunity to take. Bring your comfort, bring your encouragement, I would ask. Amen. At this time, we have a special song I'd like you to enjoy, and I thank you so much for being here this day. Thank you once again for being here, and we look forward to an opportunity just to have you greet the family, hug on the family, love on the family, and thank you for your encouragement in the days and the months and the years ahead. Find peace and comfort.